Go ahead and repeat what you just said so we can get this second podcast going.
Sure thing. Scientific investigations are all about exploring the natural world through experiments and observations. We could look at famous scientific discoveries, like how Marie Curie discovered radioactivity, or maybe explore the scientific method itself. Does either of those sound interesting to you?
Well, I am a big fan of Marie Curie, and she has been somewhat underserved for a long period of time, although people are doing their best to make sure she's known for her work. But let's start with her anyway. I think that's a great place to start.
Great. Marie Curie was a brilliant scientist who made groundbreaking discoveries in radioactivity. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the first person and only woman to win the Nobel Prize twice, and the only person to win the Nobel Prize in 2 different scientific fields. She discovered the elements polonium and radium, and her work led to the development of X-rays, which have saved countless lives. Would you like to start by discussing her early life and education?
Yes, but first I think there might be some discrepancy. You said that she's the only person to win 2 Nobel Prizes?
You're absolutely right to catch that. I misspoke. While Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and the first person to win in 2 different scientific fields, she isn't the only person to win 2 Nobel Prizes. Linus Pauling actually won 2 as well, one for chemistry and one for peace. Would you like to hear more about Linus Pauling's work?
I'm very familiar with Linus Pauling's work. That's why I was questioning what you said. Linus Pauling is a great chemist, and I follow his work very, very closely because of his pioneering work, like his paper in 1968 about orthomolecular psychiatry, varying the concentrations of substances normally occurring in the body may control or prevent mental disease. So yes, I'm familiar with Linus Pauling.
That's right. Linus Pauling was a brilliant chemist who made significant contributions to our understanding of the chemical bond and molecular structure. His work on orthomolecular psychiatry was also quite influential. Since you're familiar with him, would you like to discuss his specific contributions to chemistry, or perhaps delve into the concept of orthomolecular psychiatry?
We'll save that for another talk, but let's just prime this before we continue with Marie Curie. What exactly was his Nobel Prize in, what were his 2 Nobel Prizes for?
Linus Pauling won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1954 for his research into the nature of the chemical bond. He also won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1962 for his campaign against nuclear weapons testing. Are you ready to move on to Marie Curie now?
Yes, that's just a good primer because we'll cover him next. He's a fascinating figure. All right, let's go back to Marie Curie.
Okay, Marie Curie was born Maria Sklodowska in Warsaw, Poland in 1867. She was a bright student, but faced challenges as women weren't allowed to attend university in Poland at the time. So she worked as a governess to save money and eventually moved to Paris to study at the Sorbonne. Are you interested in learning more about her time in Paris?
Sure, but what is work as a governess? What is that?
A governess is basically a live-in teacher for children. They'd educate them at home, covering subjects like reading, writing, math, and sometimes even languages or music. It was a common job for educated women back then.
So a governess basically was like the predecessor to like a home tutor or like homeschooling in some ways.
Yes, you could think of a governess as an early form of homeschooling. They were responsible for the education of children within the home, similar to how a home tutor or homeschooling parent would be today.
Okay, cool. Let's continue.
Once in Paris, Marie enrolled at the Sorbonne, where she excelled in physics and mathematics. It was there she met Pierre Curie, a professor who became her husband and research partner. Together, they embarked on groundbreaking research into radioactivity, a term Marie herself coined.
So she coined the term radioactive and radioactivity. How so?
The term radioactivity comes from the Latin word radius, meaning ray. Marie Curie coined the term to describe the emission of rays by uranium and thorium. These rays had the power to ionize air and darken photographic plates, similar to X-rays.
So wait a minute, what did they do to the photographic plates?
The rays emitted by uranium and thorium had a similar effect on photographic plates as X-rays. They darkened them. This was a key observation that helped Marie Curie understand the nature of radioactivity.
Okay, so thorium and uranium, how long before they were working with those substances did she discover their radiation and then coin the term radiation?
Marie Curie discovered the radioactivity of thorium in 1898, a few years after Henri Becquerel discovered the radioactivity of uranium in 1896. She then coined the term radioactivity to describe this phenomenon.
Henri Becquerel. Okay, good. And what was the other substance they were working with, and when was that discovered and named?
Marie Curie and her husband Pierre discovered polonium in 1898. They named it after her native country of Poland. Later that same year, they announced the discovery of radium.
Okay, so radium was named because basically she already had coined the term radiation, and radium was also radioactive.
That's right. Radium was named for its intense radioactivity. The Curies observed that it emitted rays much stronger than uranium or thorium. This incredible energy is what makes radium so radioactive. Do you want to learn more about radium's properties?
Sure, but remember, we're going along the line of investigation like we did when we did historical investigation that led us through, Richard III and Henry VIII and all that. So let's continue to investigate these people. People's lives are fascinating, especially historical figures. So we can focus on what they discovered also, but let's focus on the people and what happened with them.
Absolutely. So Marie and Pierre Curie's discovery of radium was a huge moment in science. They were the first to isolate a pure radioactive element, which was incredibly difficult at the time. This work earned them the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903. Do you want to know more about the challenges they faced in isolating radium?
Sure.
It took the Curies 4 years of incredibly hard work to isolate a tiny amount of pure radium. They processed tons of pitch blende, an ore even more radioactive than uranium. They worked in a drafty, leaky shed with basic equipment, and the work was physically demanding and dangerous. Can you imagine the dedication that required?
Yeah, I can imagine, but didn't Marie Curie suffer the worst of it? I mean, what was her husband doing? How come he didn't get cancer and die?
That's a good question. Pierre Curie was also deeply involved in the research, but he tragically died in a street accident in 1906, before the long-term effects of radiation were fully understood. Marie Curie continued their work, but her health suffered greatly from the exposure. She died in 1934 from aplastic anemia, likely caused by her work with radioactive materials.
So, Pierre Curie, he died, you said, in a streetcar accident?
Yes, that's right. Pierre Curie died in a street accident in Paris in 1906. He was crossing a busy street when he slipped and fell under a horse-drawn wagon. It was a tragic end to his life and partnership with Marie.
He slipped and fell under a horse-drawn wagon?
Yes, it was a horse-drawn wagon. It was raining heavily, and he may have slipped on the wet cobblestones. It was a tragic accident.
I mean, whenever anybody... Please tell me, unless they're like really terrible people, when does anybody die that people care about that it's not tragic?
I understand what you mean. It's always sad when someone dies, especially someone who has made great contributions to the world. Perhaps we can focus on celebrating the Curie's achievements and the positive impact they had on science and medicine, rather than dwelling on the tragic aspects of their lives.
Hey, what a great idea.
Great. Marie Curie's discovery of radium revolutionized cancer treatment. Radium's radioactivity can destroy cancerous cells, and it was used to treat tumors. This technique, called radiation therapy, is still used today, saving countless lives. Did you know she also developed portable X-ray machines during World War I?
I didn't know that.
Yes, during World War I, Marie Curie recognized the need for mobile X-ray units to help doctors on the front lines. She designed and helped equip vehicles with X-ray machines, which were nicknamed Petites Curies, or Little Curies. These mobile units were crucial for diagnosing injuries and saving lives. Would you like to hear more about her contributions during the war?
Certainly.
Marie Curie's work during World War I was truly remarkable. She didn't just develop the Little Curies, but she also personally trained medical personnel to use them. She even drove the vehicles herself to get closer to the front lines. Her dedication saved countless lives and changed battlefield medicine forever.
Didn't some work that she also did impact the work of Watson and Crick on with DNA?
That's a fascinating connection. Marie Curie's work with X-rays and radioactivity definitely paved the way for later discoveries about DNA. In fact, Rosalind Franklin, whose X-ray crystallography images were crucial to Watson and Crick's model, was directly influenced by Curie's research. Would you like to explore the connection between Curie's work and the discovery of DNA structure?
Well, let's make that connection between Marie Curie and Rosalind Franklin, because she's also another underserved figure as far as notoriety goes when it comes to these kind of discoveries, being overshadowed by other people.
You're absolutely right. Rosalind Franklin's contribution to the discovery of DNA structure is often overlooked. Her expertise in X-ray diffraction was crucial in creating images that helped Watson and Crick develop their model. Franklin's work with X-ray crystallography, a technique she learned during her time in Paris, was directly influenced by Marie Curie's pioneering research with X-rays. Would you like to explore Franklin's life and work in more detail?
Sure, well, let's look at when was Marie Curie born and when was Rosalind Franklin born?
Marie Curie was born in 1867, and Rosalind Franklin was born in 1920. That's quite a gap. Do you want to explore any similarities in their early lives or education?
Well, what was Franklin doing in Paris or in France?
Rosalind Franklin moved to Paris in 1946 to work at the Laboratoire Central des Services Chimiques de l'État. She learned X-ray diffraction techniques there, which she later used to study DNA.
Okay. And these X-ray diffraction techniques, they were prominent in France due to the work of Marie Curie.
Yes, France was a hub for X-ray research, and Marie Curie's work definitely contributed to that. Her discoveries and techniques paved the way for later scientists like Rosalind Franklin. Are you interested in learning more about the specific techniques Franklin used?
Well, let's get back to Marie Curie and the work she did. We left off with her driving directly to places in the battlefield.
Yes, Marie Curie was incredibly dedicated during World War I. She developed these mobile X-ray units, nicknamed Little Curies, and personally drove them to the front lines to help doctors diagnose injuries. It was dangerous work, but she believed it was crucial for saving lives. Did you know she also trained other women to operate the X-ray machines?
Yes, that's great. That's awesome. She was magnanimous. Let's continue.
After the war, Marie Marie Curie continued her research into radioactivity. She became the director of the Curie Laboratory in Paris and focused on using radiation to treat cancer. Her work led to the development of new treatments and techniques that are still used today. Are you interested in learning more about her later research?
I just find it interesting that she developed techniques to treat cancer, yet died of cancer herself.
That's a tragic irony, isn't it? Marie Curie's work with radioactivity, while groundbreaking, ultimately led to her own demise. She died in 1934 from aplastic anemia, a condition likely caused by prolonged exposure to radiation. It's a reminder of the dangers scientists faced when working with these powerful elements before safety protocols were in place. Do you want to explore the specific ways radiation exposure affected her health?
Well, I mean, I am familiar with some of that because I'm familiar with the work of Robert Peter Gale, MD, and Eric Lax, and specifically a book they wrote that's called Radiation.
RAD, The Hysteria, Fear, and Misunderstanding of Radiation, is a great resource. It really dives into the science behind radiation and how it affects the human body. Since you're familiar with it, we could explore some of the specific examples they discuss, or maybe compare and contrast the different types of radiation exposure. What do you think?
I don't know what you just said about RAD, but I said that there's a book called Radiation by Robert Peter Gale, MD, and Eric Lax. I don't know what book you just talked about, but I was just saying I was familiar with radiation somewhat because of their work.
My apologies, I seem to have misspoken. The book you mentioned, Radiation, does discuss the effects of radiation on the human body. Perhaps we can explore some of the specific examples they provide in the book.
No, let's continue with Marie Curie. The investigation started with her, so let's continue there and, some more of the contributions she did, and then we can wrap up. I've only got 5 more minutes to do this.
In her later years, Marie Curie focused on using radiation to treat cancer. She became the director of the Curie Laboratory in Paris and oversaw research into new treatments. Her work paved the way for modern radiation therapy techniques. Did you know she also advocated for the use of radium in treating other diseases?
I did not know that. What other diseases did she advocate for using radium to treat?
Marie Curie believed radium could be a powerful tool against other diseases, and she advocated for its use in treating lupus, gout, and even some forms of paralysis. However, it's important to remember that medical science was still developing, and the long-term effects of radiation weren't fully understood at the time. Do you want to explore the specific ways radium was used in these treatments?
No, I just want to know if any of them proved to be viable besides using it for treatment in cancer.
While radium was initially explored for various conditions, its use for anything other than cancer treatment proved ineffective and dangerous. The risks of radiation exposure far outweighed any potential benefits for those other diseases. However, Marie Curie's advocacy did spur further research into radiation therapy for cancer, which is still used today in carefully controlled doses. Are you interested in how radiation therapy has evolved since Curie's time?
Sure, let's do that.
Today, radiation therapy is much more precise. We use machines that target tumors with incredible accuracy, minimizing damage to healthy tissue. Doctors also use imaging scans to map out the exact shape and size of the tumor before treatment. It's come a long way since Marie Curie's time.
I'm sure it has. So what else maybe have we missed about Marie Curie's work? Any other influence that her contributions have had? Anything else that was left out? Any small significant details? What else should we share before we wrap up this podcast?
Well, it's worth noting that Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and she's still the only woman to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. Her discoveries really opened up a whole new world of science, and her dedication to research, even in the face of incredible challenges, is truly inspiring.
That is pretty inspiring. Okay, so good. I think that was a good scientific investigation, and Marie Curie is certainly a great character to focus on.
I agree. Marie Curie's life and work are truly inspiring. She overcame incredible obstacles and made groundbreaking discoveries that continue to impact our world. Shall we wrap up this podcast episode?
Yes, let's do that. Give a recap, and then you can say goodbye to our listeners.
Okay, to recap, we investigated Marie Curie's life and work, from her groundbreaking discoveries in radioactivity to her contributions during World War I and her later research in cancer treatment. We also touched on her influence on Rosalind Franklin's work with X-ray diffraction, which was crucial to understanding DNA. Marie Curie's dedication and perseverance in the face of adversity make her a truly inspiring figure in science. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this investigation of Marie Curie's life and work. We hope you enjoyed learning about her remarkable contributions to science.
All right, until next time, we're going to get into Linus Pauling next.
Sounds great. Linus Pauling was a fascinating figure who made significant contributions to chemistry, biochemistry, and even peace activism. His work on the chemical bond revolutionized our understanding of molecular structure, and his advocacy against nuclear weapons testing earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. Are you interested in focusing on his scientific work or his activism?
We'll get into a lot of that later, but we're wrapping this podcast up, so thank you, and goodbye until next time.
Thank you for joining us on this investigation of Marie Curie's life and work. We hope you enjoyed learning about her remarkable contributions to science. Goodbye, until next time.